Hi, I'm Gina-R-Farrar, reinvention coach, creator and host of Feminine Roadmap podcast, and leader of this amazing global community of women. If you are approaching midlife or are already in the thick of it, welcome home. Please grab a cup of something wonderful and join me for some real talk, practical strategies, and a big dose of sisterhood. I am so glad you're here. Hello, Feminine Roadmappers. Welcome back to Feminine Roadmap Podcast, the podcast that helps you navigate the challenges and the changes of midlife and gives you the tools and strategies to craft the most amazing second half of life, a vibrant, meaningful, on-purpose life. Today, I want to talk about what a surprise it is that December is actually here. It's upon us. The holidays are upon us. I want to apologize that this podcast is actually late. I was having a difficult time deciding what it was that I wanted to share with you. And I realized that I have these Facebook Lives from 3 years ago that are still incredibly relevant to today. And I did one in 2018 talking about holidays and balance and finding that joy in the season. And I thought it would be a great way to kick off December to have a podcast that harkens back to what I was thinking then and how it's still so relevant to my life now. And as a live video is how I did it originally. The input that I got back from those that were involved in listening to it, watching it, and commenting on it, I found that it was something that just really struck a chord. And I thought, I'm going to re-air that live through this audio today and share with you what was happening then, what really identified with the people then. What is interesting is to go back and to listen to something like that, because at the time I was doing my first inaugural Warrior Women Live event, which I loved, and it was in December at a friend's shop. And I was plugging it and excited about it. And I was talking about these journals, which I still have, these Warrior Women journals. And people still buy them, and I have given them as gifts. And so when you hear the part about the journals, that is part of a branch of something I had begun, which was an event that encouraged women to identify what it was that they wanted to do and be, what was holding them back, and how we could launch them into that greater, more on-purpose version of themselves. And so I have Warrior Women journals that you'll hear about. Also, I had just lost my father-in-law a few months before, and I was talking about the transition with my mother-in-law. And so this year, my mother-in-law passed away. And so we've been transitioning without her into the holidays this season. And I just thought it was interesting that I was mentioning that my father-in-law had passed. We'd moved my mother-in-law. We were helping her transition. And now 3 years later, we are in a different place without her, and just what family looks like with, my husband's parents both being gone. And so that was a kind of a poignant reminder of what we were going through 3 years ago, where we've been in the last 3 years, how these holidays have changed, and how they do change throughout the years. When our lives change, people pass away or they move away, relationships change. And I just thought it was really kind of an interesting thought, and it gives perspective to our conversation today as we head into the holidays. We just never know from day to day what's going to happen, who's going to be in or out of our lives. And so one of the things I really focus on in this live is that idea of spending time with the people you love, not just on Christmas Day, but those friends that you want to, connect with, have a cup of coffee with, do a phone call with, do a Zoom with. It doesn't matter, but just slowing down and cherishing relationships, even during the holiday season, or more so during the holiday season. In this Facebook Live, you're going to hear me talking about my podcast, because I was introducing it to my Facebook audience. and it was the end of my first year as a podcaster. And I had been doing it alone for about 3 or 4 months at that time. So the episodes that I'm referencing are from December 3rd, episode 57, through December 23rd, which is episode 60. So if you want to go back, I reference in this actual Facebook Live episode 57, but I didn't say which episode it was, but it was definitely episode 57. But 57, 58, 59, and 60 were all Christmas focused podcasts that I did back then when just pondering my experience with Christmas and marriage and traditions and family and all of the things. So if you're interested, you can go check that out way in the way back. Also, I was talking about a friend, Regina, that I had recently gotten together with back then. And we did our get together just about 3 weeks ago here again. And she and I get together fairly regularly. And it's one of those precious relationships that, I don't see her all the time. I think I see her like twice a year. And I have other precious relationships where I don't actually get to see them. We do a relationship digitally because they don't live close by. They live out of town, they live across the country, and I use Marco Polo to stay connected with them. And so I find that it's just an interesting journey to look back over this time that's passed and realize that Regina, among several other friends, have stayed in the game with me, and they've stayed connected with me, and they've been willing to reach out and say, let's get together or let's talk, and how meaningful that is to me, especially this time of year when we head into the holidays. I share in the live a little bit about my retail experience, and I really try to make the holidays about joy and being present in each moment, and the traditions or the fun little things we like to do, like buying a box of candy canes or lighting candles that are pine or cinnamon, just little things like that. Like, I'm not even talking about big productions. I'm just talking about the little things that bring us joy. So this month, I'm going to be doing things a little bit differently. I'm going to be scaling back. I have one more interview that is ready for you, and that will be next Monday. But for the rest of the month, I'm going to be sharing these audios from Facebook Lives that I did when I was challenging myself to show up and talk about the holidays or mindset or things that I thought would be impactful. And when I realized that those were impactful at the time and people gave really solid input on it, I thought, you know what, I'm going to go into this holiday season and use the content I've already created that has already had an impact on people's lives and share it with you. And hopefully you will feel the same about it, and it will be an encouragement to you. It'll be like a relaxing conversation with a girlfriend. It'll just feel good to listen to. That's my goal for the month of December, is for us to just have this time. And the thing that I always forget to ask, and I would love it if you could do this for me. There's just a couple of things. If you could subscribe and rate this podcast wherever you listen, that helps my podcast get seen. Share it with your friends. If you find one episode that really helped you, please take the time to share it with a friend. Shout it out. Share this. We've got 4 years under our belt. Actually, this is the 250th episode. And so that's 250 times that I've shown up and thought that there's something that'll make a difference in one person's life. Imagine if we are impacted by something and we share it with someone else, how we can have a ripple effect in the world. And I would love for Feminine Roadmap to have that ripple effect. But in order for that to happen, I just ask you to pretty please share it with your friends. And the other ask that I have is I'm slowly trying to balance 2 Instagram accounts, but the one that I really need support in is at Feminine Roadmap. Just getting more eyes on it so more people know about the podcast. I would love it if you would follow me there on Instagram. And the last ask is I would love for you to share with me what about this podcast you enjoy and what you would like to hear more of, because I'm guessing over here. And I would really love to hear from you. And if you have a question, something that you want to contribute, I'd love to share it on the podcast. So if you will email me at ourtribe@feminineroadmap.com. Again, email me at ourtribe@feminineroadmap.com with your questions, with your comments, with things that you would like to share. And I will shout you out and read it on the intro to my podcast through the month of December. So please let me know if you have any Christmas traditions, any holiday favorites that you like, anything that you want to share. I would love to share it with the tribe. So just send me those things. Share your voice with me. Let me share your voice with the rest of the tribe. People listen from all over the world. This is an incredible group of women. And while I don't know you all, I feel like I do know you all. If you listen to this podcast, we are kindred spirits. And even if you've only listened twice, if those two things have made a difference in your life, then we are on the right track. So friends, without further ado, I want to thank you so much for listening today. I hope that you enjoy this throwback to 2018, a Facebook Live. So it's never been on my podcast before. Please don't forget to subscribe, rate, follow me on Instagram, and send me your emails. Let me know what your holiday traditions are, what you're loving, what things, your favorite foods, your favorite movies, your favorite scents, how you like to decorate your house. If there's little trips that you take, let's share some holiday traditions this holiday, and I will shout them out each week on my podcast. I want to thank you so much for being with me today. Enjoy this conversation. Hi, how is everyone? Just checking in. I cannot believe it's December. I'm absolutely mind blown that we've already hit December. We did get Christmas lights up, but we still have to get a tree and do all that stuff. I don't know about you, but for a lot of people, when December hits, people begin to just stress out. And they think of all the things they have to do and all of the things that need to be done, the baking, the volunteering, or the just the traditions. And I'm finding that in this season of my life, it's really interesting how these things change. They change as you get older. They change as you have children. They change as your children age. If you go from single to married, or married to empty nester, and just you and your husband looking at each other for the first time in years without any other voices in the house. And I find that this transition of this season of life, when you are going through any kind of transition, for us, this will be our first Christmas since my father-in-law died. So that's going to be a difficult transition possibly for my mother-in-law. And then we also have, of course, just the busyness of having 2 adult children and trying to figure out and maintain how we're going to, get in the things that we think are important, but at the same time continue to maintain some sense of sanity. And so for us, we kick off our holiday season generally going up to Oak Glen, and that's something we do try to protect, and we try to fit that in kind of early in the season so it feels like the holidays. That's kind of our way of saying, okay, the holidays are here. We get our holiday drinks from Starbucks, and then of course the nice thing about going up to Oak Glen is it's colder. So you do get a sense of the holiday seasons when it's not 90 degrees. This year, I don't know about those of you who are with me here in California, we're actually having chilly weather. Look, I'm wearing a scarf, like for realsies wearing a scarf, not just wearing one for looks, but it actually is helping keep me warm. And I just want to talk about the way that we can really work on being present and available to our family and our friends as a person. Today I spent some time with a good friend of mine. Her name is Regina, and we have been friends for, I can't even remember how many years. Isn't that funny how time just flies? But we worked together through MAC Cosmetics, and we became friends in the early 2000s, somewhere. I would guess 2004, 2005, maybe earlier. And we spent some time together today, and we didn't have our phones out, and we just really connected with one another and talked about things and just had girlfriend time. And I find that so valuable. It's so easy to get busy and not make time to actually look someone in the eye without a phone in your face or some kind of task that needs to be done, whether it's your children or your to-do list or your calendar or whatever. And I just find that when the holidays come, I feel like we all expect ourselves to just kind of drop everything and run around like chickens with our head cut off. I saw this commercial for, I think it was like a movie, and it was like a hamster running in a wheel. It was like an animated version. And he gets off and he goes, I feel like all I'm doing is running in circles. And I literally laughed out loud because I thought, have you ever thought about hamsters? Like, that's their life. They literally run on a wheel, and they just run on a wheel and they never get anywhere. And I don't want to live a hamster's life. So I'm trying to really work on being present with who I'm with and not like looking at my phone, unless, there's some kind of an emergency. But other than that, I think most of the time, just a couple of hours of undivided attention with someone that you care about is so valuable, right? And these lives give me a little bit of that feeding too, because I get to see names of people. I've got Rose, I used to work with at Mac. I've got Anna, who's a family member in Texas. I've got Miranda, we used to go to church together. Anissa Mae Campbell. My friends, when we talk about mindset, that's what I'm saying, even for the holidays. How do we set our minds to really slow down and be present? And how I expect my holiday season to go is how it will go. So if I find myself expecting it to be crazy and insane and chaotic, I'm going to feel and think and create those things, right? So of course, my event is all about mastering your mindset and rewriting your stories. You guys, this is powerful stuff. Not because I know everything, but I'm going to be sharing some of my story and how I can help you really identify what it is that makes you feel stuck, or things keep repeating patterns in your life, and how I can help you with a couple of tips and tricks and just resources to move forward in 2019 in a powerful, powerful way. And I'm so excited. My daughter designed a logo. My husband designed a journal, and I will have those journals. You guys who come to my event next Thursday, December 13, are my inaugural group of people on the ground level, my early adopters, the people that I get to share my heart with for the very first time on my own stage. So back to the holidays. I don't know about you ladies, but I'm finding that sometimes I cling really tightly to the things that I want to experience during the holidays, certain habits or patterns. So when we think about the holidays and we think about the things that we expect to do, I was really thinking, how can we maintain that sense of tradition and maintain that sense of the things that are important to us for the holidays without losing our mind, right? I did a podcast this week on Feminine Roadmap on the holidays and kind of making the most of the holidays. And it's really on my mind to figure out what are kind of the big rocks in the holidays? What are the things that are important? And how can I maximize those things and maybe eliminate some things that maybe have become expectations, but I don't find joy in those things anymore? One of the things that I'm doing, and I don't know if you guys do this, is I'm the holiday house, so everything happens at my house. And sometimes I actually just have everybody bring something, because this year is an unusual year with my father-in-law passing and all this, the things my husband and I have been doing to help my mother-in-law transition into a new home and all of the things with that. And then of course, everything with the funeral and finances and all of that. And it's like, I need a little extra support this season. I need to allow myself a little more room. And maybe you understand what I'm saying. Maybe you have, maybe you're that person who just does everything and everyone lets you do everything. Like maybe that's the thing where you fit that role in your family. And I want to encourage you to really think about, is that the role you want to continue to play? And how can you begin to slightly shift it a little bit to become a more cooperative experience the holidays? Like, for example, I don't know about you, but I love shopping on Amazon.com. And I think I love Amazon.com because it's like having packages delivered to your door and you don't have to go walk around the stores. I'm not a big fan of shopping. I don't actually enjoy the process of wandering store after store. So I think Amazon.com is like the best thing ever. But, can you find ways to simplify your life? Maybe shop online, or maybe even like what my daughters do is they do a friend's Christmas, but they do it after the holiday. So it's not all being jammed in before Christmas. Like, are there things you could do where you could possibly just kind of group your activities? Like if you see one girlfriend, maybe you can get 4 girlfriends together and just have a quick meet up at a coffee shop. Or maybe you could, again, do a Friendsmas kind of deal in January when everybody's done feeling like they have too many things to do. For me, I really want to watch Charlie Brown Christmas every year and Elf. I'm a humongous fan of Elf and The Grinch. So there's certain things like that, like in the evening when everybody's home and we have a little quiet time, we tend to try to throw in a Christmas movie. And one of the fun things that we started last year is hilarious. Seriously, I would love to hear your guys' suggestions. Ladies, if you have any of you, even guys, if you have a movie at Christmas that's super cheesy that you really enjoy, send it my way. My girls and I last year actually started watching those Christmas movies. They're super predictable, kind of mediocre. It sounds like every single one of them had the exact same person making the music for it. They tend to be Hallmark or independent. Like they're just, the storyline is just so easy to predict. And so we've decided that watching mediocre holiday films is like the thing to do. And we got several in last year, and you know what? We actually really like some of them. It doesn't matter that they're predictable because, yeah, Hallmark movies, some of them, we don't have the Hallmark channel, so I guess it's true confession time. I don't watch TV, and I'm not all that, I don't try to keep up on who's who and what they're in, but honestly, it's a fun tradition to kind of lighten the mood where you can just sit down, have no expectations, and they're just really simple Christmas movies. I don't know, there's always there's conflict, and then they end up falling in love, of course, and then you're happy about it or whatever. It's just kind of the fun little thing to do. But I find that the holidays are a time when we lose our balance sometimes. So I really wanted to have a conversation about what do you do to kind of keep your holidays from feeling like they're getting out of control. Miranda asked me a question here. Have you been reading Leader in Me by Stephen Covey? I've read a lot of books by Stephen Covey, and I've been trained in leadership and leadership development through John Maxwell. So I'm a certified John Maxwell trainer and coach. So I have had a ton of training and continued training in leadership through him. So give me a call. I'd love to have a chat about leadership because that's one of my what do you call it? Like pet conversations. So, Netflix and Hulu have Hallmark movies. Okay. We kind of just go on Netflix or Amazon Prime and watch our films, but what are the things that we find so important for the holidays that really aren't as important as we think they are? Or maybe we're going through a transition like my family is right now and really realizing what are the things we want to give our attention to. Not being so hung on tight to the things we've always done, like this is what we've always done and we have to do that. Because sometimes it takes the joy out of it when we're clinging so tightly to something that we've always done, that we're just doing it for the sake of doing it. We've kind of lost sight of the whole idea that the holidays really are a time of celebration and joy and connection and worship for our family, celebrating the Christmas season and what all that stands for us. Yes, movies that always snow on cue. Movies that snow on cue. Yeah, those are the best ones because it never snows on cue in Southern California. But I think for us, the holidays really trying to remember what is the point of Christmas. I think for most of us, we get caught in the trappings, even though I love the trappings. I love the tree and the lights go on sale and I buy more and my house is just full of twinkle lights and it brings me so much joy. But if I'm too busy, I don't even get to enjoy those things because I'm so busy doing other things. So I'm really trying to slow that roll down and have conversations with you, my friends, to have that same mind in you to really look at, okay, what do I absolutely have to do for the holidays? Like what really is the important thing that has to be done and what can I let go of? Baking in advance and freezing things, Or having a baking party. Maybe that's where you get together with your friends and you all bake together and you just make a bunch of cookies or pies or whatever it is and freeze those things. There's just 100 different things you can do. But I just wanted to be an encouragement to you all, my friends and family, and just say, you know what? Where can you find the joy in the holiday season? Where can you find the connection this holiday season? Where can you slow down and spend time with the people you love and have conversations with the people you love and say the things that you need to say to the people you love? I was saying earlier in this live that I was talking to a friend of mine. I had lunch with her at the Cowgirl Cafe in Norco, and she blessed me with a compliment today that was so precious. And then this evening Anissa gave me a compliment as well. And it was such a blessing to me. And I think maybe we shouldn't just wait till the holidays, but we're more inclined, right, to think of family and people we love during the holidays. You know, maybe what ways could you bless someone this holiday season? Not just thinking about a gift for them, but thinking about how you could bless them with telling them why you love them, or something that they do or something that they are to you that really blesses you. You know, it could be your parents, it could be a friend, it could be a sibling, it could be, it literally could be, maybe you go to a certain coffee shop all the time and you have a regular barista that takes care of you. You know, how can we make the holidays a more joyful, connected experience for ourselves? I know it gets busy and I know there's so many things that we can get caught up doing, but if we could just take a moment and stop and smile at the person that's in front of us, whether they're the cashier or the barista or, the person in retail. I was in retail on and off for about 20 years, most of it on. But I have to tell you that I would watch people as it got closer to Christmas, and I would see the strain on their face and the real kind of grinchiness kind of overtaking them. The closer you would get to Christmas, the grumpier people would get and the more unhappy they would begin to get. And you would realize that for whatever reason, they had completely lost sight of Christmas, and now they were just trying to get that list done, and they're just so angry. And I remember thinking to myself, how sad that we are supposed to have, the Christmas is about joy. It's about worship. It's about community and family. And we get so caught up in the trappings of gifts and things like that that we're not even enjoying it. We're just busy doing all these things that, if we died tomorrow, would that have really mattered? Sometimes reverse engineering our life and thinking about, okay, if I had 1 week left to live, would I be doing all of these things? Would I be saying all these things and having this mindset of hurry, 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 go, go, go? Or would we make the time for the people that we love? If we knew we had 7 days left, would we worry about that pair of socks? Or would we worry about that gift card? Not that those things are bad, but when they become so important that we aren't nice to people, I think we've lost the point, So really reverse engineering your life. If this was your very last Christmas on earth, if you were going to die the day after Christmas, sorry for the morbid analogy, but think about this. If you knew that this was your last Christmas, how would you want your family to feel? How would you want your friends to feel? What would you want them to know? How would you want to experience your last Christmas? And really, because we're not guaranteed tomorrow, how can we level out the chaos of Christmas? How can we think differently about it? How can we lead the way for our family and our friends so that they also slow down and enjoy the holiday season? Because it's crazy out there in the retail world. Let me tell you, there's just a whole lot of unhappy people doing what they think they're supposed to do because it's Christmas. And so with that in mind, what kind of thing comes to your mind about how you can engage Christmas differently in your mind and in your activities? So Miranda says she loves Christmas, but as an adult, she loves Thanksgiving more because its focus is on people versus gifts. I like the whole holiday season, but I try to remember to be kind to people because people are so much more important than things. And what is a tradition or thing that we do if it's not people centered, if it's just getting something done or just a matter of a to-do list, are we really are we really doing something that needs to be done? So I just thought I would chit chat about Christmas because I'm completely shocked that December is here so fast. And then, of course, I really felt led to do my event in December. And so it's sneaking up on me a bit. And I've got all these preparations that I'm doing. And I thought oh, it's in the middle of December. Well, guess what? It is December. So how am I going to manage my attitude? How am I going to manage my energy? Because that's another thing. Are we taking care of ourselves? Are we sleeping enough? Are we drinking enough water? We're heading into the sugar coma part of our year, right? How can we be healthy in the way that we eat and have balance to make sure that we are not overdoing it and making sure that we're being healthy? I just was on my mind today. And like I said, I'm sitting here at church and there's a women's event, so if you hear like ladies running around and being noisy, it's hilarious. It's actually women, I think, doing a scavenger hunt. So anyway, I have no idea. There's no timer on this. I have been talking for I don't even know how long, so I don't want to ramble, but I did want to say, you know what? As we head into the holiday season, we are already in December, and people are going to get grumpy, my friends. They do, especially when they're shopping. People begin to get impatient. How can we set the standard for a different way of engaging the holiday season? How can we set the standard in our homes, in our friendships, in showing people what the true spirit of Christmas is, that really joy and peace? I know for me, listening to Christmas music, I literally listen to Christmas music for the entire month. I'm one of those people that you probably get irritated with because as soon as I start Christmas music, it plays all the way through New Year's. But for me, it helps me stay kind of in the joy and the happiness of what Christmas is and looking forward to having my home be the place that the family comes on Christmas Eve when we do dinner. And so what are the things that you find help your holiday season feel a little bit more balanced? Are there things that you do? Are there traditions that you have? Like I said, our traditions really come down to going to Oak Glen and watching specific movies. Like last night was the night that I put on my we call it the Olga hat. It's like a Santa hat with white braids. And my husband's like, you can't make cocoa without this hat. So I'm in the kitchen with my Olga Christmas hat, making homemade cocoa. The girls were decorating, and then we sat and watched a Christmas movie. So for us, I would say it's probably music and movies more than anything. Because for us, hunkering down at home in our comfy clothes and just all snuggling up together and being together is kind of our way of grounding ourselves through the holiday season so we don't get too busy. I wanted to go, what I would love to do is go to a live nativity. I haven't been to a live nativity in years, and I saw that my high school buddy Stan had posted one from the Chino Hills Calvary Chapel. And I don't know, I always miss the memos on these things, but in our family, we really kind of we don't focus on Santa, we focus on the nativity and Christ at the center. So those are the things that are important for our celebration of Christmas. And it's so easy for us to even lose sight of that, So for us, it's always trying to stay connected to what Christmas is about to our family and not losing sight of that important piece. How can we have joy and peace and kindness and love and really exemplifying the fruit of the Spirit? And I have always been tempted, I don't know if anybody else has done this, but I've been tempted to really minimize gift giving one year to see maybe do something kind of like charity kind of giveaway as a family instead of really, we don't buy a lot for each other. We don't go crazy or anything, but it's just something. Do any of you ever do anything like that where you kind of take the focus off the gifts and maybe focus on some kind of a charity or anything like that? It'd be interesting. to know what's out there, because again, I don't know of anything off the top of my head. If you have things that you don't want or need, there's a couple of thrift stores in my area. It's called Three-Way Thrift, and the Foothill Family Shelter in Claremont, or is it Upland, has a thrift store as well. And so if you have things that you're no longer using and you declutter, those two thrift stores actually have a greater purpose to their thrift sales. The Three-Way Thrift is called Three-Way because there's 3 ministries that they support. And I actually don't know what all 3 are, but one of them is Homes for Mentally Disabled or Challenged People. I want to say it's Shiloh Homes. It's something like that. I have one on my street. Actually, there's one 3 doors down from me. And it's a home where you have developmentally disabled people that can live on their own, but they live in group homes. And so that's one of Three-Way Thrift's ministries. They support them. I'm sorry, I don't know what the other 2 are. But thinking Christmas that way as well, if you have things that you're not using, Upland, okay. So the Foothill Family Shelter thrift store is in Upland on Foothill Boulevard. So those are 2 thrift stores that I know of that have really good purposes. So if you have anything that you want to donate, those are 2 places you can go this Christmas that will really benefit a broader group of people who are in need as well. And so another idea is there's different women's shelters in our area. I know the city of Claremont has several agencies that they work with for homelessness. So if you wanted to donate jackets or blankets or something like that, you can just connect with the Claremont Chamber and they'll be able to connect you to different agencies that maybe you could get involved in for that for the Christmas holiday as well. And so just some creative ideas for what you can do this Christmas to give back. I'm going to be doing some heavy donating as well as supporting the Pretties with the Purpose, because I think it's important to, are you with me when you look in your refrigerator or you look in your closet? How blessed we are with all of the things that we have. How blessed are we to have a choice for what to eat for dinner, or a choice of what shoes to put on our feet, or several pairs of socks, or clothes that we don't even wear. Clothes that you keep, I should say clothes I keep thinking, oh, maybe I'll fit that pair of pants again someday. Well, you know what? Maybe I will, maybe I won't, but maybe someone else could be wearing those pants tomorrow instead of them wasting away in my closet. So, thinking in terms of Christmas, in terms of how we can give and how we can serve. Because I think the holiday season starts in Thanksgiving, but I think it goes all the way through New Year. And as we think about the way that we want to begin next year, we don't want to poop out at the end of December. We want to actually really manage ourselves well so that we are excited about the new year and the new possibilities that it has. So anyway, those are just some random thoughts because I'm sitting here at my church, and like I said, my daughter's painting, and I'm just staying here for safety's sake. It's such a blessing to have family and to have that connectedness and to have people that love you and support you. So I want to encourage you this holiday season to really reconnect with the people in your life that you love. Take the time to tell them that you love them. Take the time to spend some time with them. And even if it's just an hour, it doesn't have to be a big drawn out thing, but think about yourself. Like, what is it that you need? And assume that probably someone else needs the same thing. And then take the time to relax. My thing, we love to go drive and look at Christmas lights. We have Brea does some beautiful Christmas lights, and then the Mission Inn in Riverside, which is kind of a madhouse. There's so many people there, but I do like to go there and walk around and enjoy those Christmas lights because it doubles as a time to be with my husband, and we can just hold hands and walk and just be together. And this season of our lives is really more and more time of just the 2 of us together, because my girls are so busy with their adult lives and the things that they're doing. And those precious moments with my girls are becoming more precious because of that. But then, the man that I chose to marry it deserves that same amount of love and attention, and continuing to build our friendship and creating new holiday traditions for the two of us. We're realizing this year we'll probably have to do a couple of the lights things by ourselves, and that's okay. Instead of being unhappy about that, really looking at it as an opportunity to build my relationship even deeper with my husband. I am blessed that my husband is one of my best friends, so it's not a burden to spend the time alone with him. But as a mom, we're always thinking all the family, everybody together. We have to do this thing together. But the reality is that, sometimes it doesn't work out that way. And I get to choose whether or not I find joy in the circumstances as they are at the moment. I think we can cling so tightly to the things that we think are important that we lose sight of the things that really are. And so I just wanted to encourage you. Does anybody have any thoughts on how you manage Christmas? I see Janet is up there. I see my mom, my cousin Elizabeth. I've got several people, but boy, those pictures are small. I'm on my phone, so I literally, unless I have Anissa's up there. I see Anissa. So if there's anything that you guys want to share, hi Loretta. I see someone from high school, Loretta. I'm so grateful that you guys pop onto my lives. Thank you for giving me a space in your life to share what's on my heart and mind, and just to know that I can hop on. And thanks for the love, Mom. I could just kind of hop on and share the things that I'm thinking of, because my philosophy is, if I'm thinking about it, certainly there's someone else who's thinking the same thing, and someone else who's kind of muddling through life and pondering the same things that I'm pondering. Because while I don't have all the answers, I do love to share some of the solutions and things that I've been working on, because I'm thinking that it might help someone else. But I would also love to hear some of your solutions and some of your creative ideas, because it will be helpful to me as well. One more plug. I have a podcast called Feminine Roadmap, and I would love to know, and you guys can message me at any time on this, but my podcast is really dynamically about navigating change and transition. It really is about creating a community of women that can encourage one another. I want my podcast to be a place that feels kind of like a girls' Starbucks, where you can grab a cup of something wonderful and have good conversations. So the topics that I want to share, I want them to be relevant to any woman that is dealing with change and transition and just real conversations in life. And so we feel like we have someone who understands. Apparently I got a bad connection there. And so there's a resource for women to turn to and to listen to, and to kind of maybe get a different perspective on their life situation and their mindset and their feelings, so that we have that community together. So Feminine Roadmap is something that is near and dear to my heart. I'm rounding month 12 of my podcast, so I'm super excited. I'm wanting to finish the year strong. So if there's any topics that you, my friends, would love to have me talk about and share, please let me know what topics you would find as women that would be encouraging, or I don't know, you just want to know you're not the only one that's thinking those things or feeling those things, because, there's a lot of voices out there in the world, right? But to have a place that we can go to consistently, like Feminine Roadmap, and build a community of women that are feeling the same things and experiencing the same things, and having that support is so important, I think. And that's why I started the podcast, because I felt like, as for myself and a lot of my friends, you're approaching midlife and there's these mindsets that are just so unsupportive. And so a lot of women are afraid to turn 50. A lot of women are afraid of the second half of life. They feel like that, almost like they've spent all they had and now they don't have anything to offer. And I want to fight against that paradigm. And I want to say, no, there's amazing things you can do as long as you're alive. It doesn't matter how old you are. What matters is who you are and how you show up in the world. And I'm looking for amazing people to interview as well. Just women that can share their stories, women that can have an impact. I met a woman, gina-r-farrar, and she and I became fast friends, and I interviewed her 3 podcasts ago, and she was talking about being ready to say yes when opportunity arises. And that's the reason I want to do the podcast, so I can meet amazing women and I can introduce amazing women to other women virtually. Because, have you ever just listened to a radio program or watched a talk show and you just really connect with that person? So I believe that the platform has power to create a community. And we're in over 25 countries now in the podcast. So we are literally reaching the world. And so I know that whatever it is you're feeling and want to talk about, there's another woman somewhere in this world that needs to hear that. But I need help. I need help knowing what those things are. And one of the other things, if you know someone who has a podcast or a radio program that I could get on and share my message, that would be amazing too. Just looking for that community to continue to build that positive, uplifting, encouraging, sound, wise community, not caught up in paradigms that are not supportive, not caught up in limiting beliefs of, how you look or how old you are and your capacity and your value based on that. Miranda, we went through the change the last few years. It turned out to be awesome, even though at the time it seemed tragic. You find a new chapter to discover and find your passion again. That's exactly right, because this is an exciting season. There are a lot of different pressures and a lot of different experiences that we're having, which was, oh my goodness, one of the reasons I started the podcast, because I'm finding that a lot of women are in this space of kind of no man's land, where you're kind of finishing up parenting and maybe you're not working, or you're transitioning in jobs, or your husband's transitioning a job, or you're single and trying to figure out, do I want to do this thing for the rest of my life because I'm providing for myself? And it's all of those decisions about your future and transitioning those changes that might need to be made or being forced upon you depending on your situation. And so Feminine Roadmap is all about a community of women that are supporting one another in the challenges of life and coming up with resources and solutions to the changes and transitions, so we don't feel alone, so we know that we're not the only one that's having these experiences. And so I'm really fundamentally, my Facebook Lives, my podcast, my event is all about creating community. It's all about support and encouragement. It's all about building into each other's lives in a way that creates positive change and that just real sense of community. Because it's so, we're in a world where we've got phones and Facebook and social media and all of these things where there's a sense of connectedness, but are we really connecting with people? And so I felt that the Facebook Lives gave me a chance for you to see my face and all of my funny expressions and the things that I say, and it gives you a chance to really kind of connect to me, because you're hearing my voice. You're not having to guess what I mean by what I'm typing out, you're really getting to hear it. And for those of you that come to my event, I can, give you a hug and give you my appreciation in person. And there's that next level of connectedness just by taking the time to come out for 2 hours and spend it in the community of women who are all on the same page, looking for that same kind of encouragement to up-level their thinking, to up-level their living, and to be a part of a greater purpose for themselves. Because let me tell you, it's so easy to feel like you are separated, even in this highly connected digital world that we live in. It's so much more important to be face-to-face with people. And I think that's a big part of self-care this holiday season, is making sure that you're getting recharged in your alone time, but making sure that your time with other people has that, you're not just pouring out, but you're also receiving the love and care of the people around you. So anyway, I feel like I could go on and on and on, but I don't want to just go on and on and on because I feel like it. But I want to thank you. I want to thank you all for joining me. I want to thank you for listening to my live and sending me all the hearts and the love. It's so cool. I just think this is a great platform, and I hope that it blesses you. I hope that you get something out of it. I just pray that it has a purpose in the world greater than what I could imagine. Same thing for my podcast and my Warrior Women Live events. I will be touching base with you a little more often during the holidays because I think it's important to stay connected and to have a different voice in this craziness. So I want to thank you again for joining me today. I want you to know how much it means to me that you joined me, and I hope that something here has been an encouragement to you. Thanks for taking this ride with me. I love you bunches, and have a great rest of your night. Bye-bye.